Let's pick up where we left off. So we are looking at ventral or anterior. So mid-term, we said ventral is front. So definition here, we are looking at the front of the body. So front of the body. And anterior is a word that we can use. It should be interchangeable. So we could say that the eyes are ventral. The eyes are on the front of the body. So we'll make sure we mark our mid-term. We're going to mark the word front and get the word ventral. And then we're going to do the next one, which is dorsal. So we said dorsal meant back. So back of the body. So let's write an example down. An example could be that my vertebrae are dorsal. So my vertebrae are on the back of the body. Again, we're going to mark mid-term. So we'll do dors and back. Let's go down to the pictures down here. And so I have this person. Okay. And so we'll say the back of the body is dorsal or posterior. So that's what we're talking about. The front of the body would be anterior and ventral. Ventral or anterior is the front and dorsal or posterior is the back. Now, when we're talking about an animal, we're going to have to separate those words. So, if we're talking about the dog, and we talk about, the arrow should be going to his back. That's going to be dorsal. Okay, and his front is ventral. My V kind of got screwed up there. That should be a ventral. Let me use a color over that just to correct that. Okay, then we would say the front of the dog is anterior and his tail is posterior. And so that having an animal on all fours is going to change things up a little bit, but this would be that major change that you would just have to pay attention to. But we're going to be, in my class, we're going to be dealing with it this way. But I just wanted to show my vet kids kind of what that looked like too. All right, so let's go back to our words. The next one is medial. So we said med is middle. So towards, and we're going to use the word midline, which means the middle of the body if you could draw a line straight down. All right, so an example would be, that would be near the midline, as I could say my navel or belly button. I could say my nose. My navel and my nose are medial. midterm, med, and middle. All right, lateral is the next one. Lateral means side, so towards the side. Okay. So, examples of that. I could say that my ears and my arms are lateral. They're towards the side of my body. So let's come to my picture here. So we're going to draw arrows on top of my person. So if it's towards the center, that's medial. If it's away from center and towards the outside of the body, this is lateral. Next one is proximal. So we said approximate, nearest. So we're going to go close to point of attachment. And then we're going to do distal while we're here. Distal is away from point of attachment. And before I do my example, we're going to do this on the picture. So when we talk about this, big thing that we understand with this, and I'll kind of write this on the side, is this is hip to toes or shoulder to fingers. Okay? So when we're looking at this, we only use these two words when we're talking about our extremities, our arms and our legs. Okay, so point of attachment is right here, right here, right here, and right here. If it's close to point of attachment, so if it's close here, then it's proximal. If it's away from point of attachment, it's distal, distant, far away. If it's close to point of attachment, it's proximal. If it's away from point of attachment, it's distal or distant. So we're only using it when we're talking about our arms and our legs. So I would say, as my example, my elbow is proximal to my shoulder. I would say that my fingers are distal to my shoulder. So my elbows are close to my shoulder, where my fingers are far from my shoulder. And the last two are superficial and deep. So superficial, super above, and so this is going to be, whoops, we missed a midterm here. Proximal side and lateral. So get those two midterms, lateral and proximal. So superficial is going to be towards the surface, where deep is going to be away from the surface, and it's going to be inside the body. So a superficial wound would be a scratch. like a cat scratch, whether it bled or didn't bleed. Either way, it's a simple scratch. If it's going to be deep, it's going to hit internal structures. So we're talking about like a bullet going through the body. We're talking about like it entering in through the front of the body and exiting out the back of the body. That would be deep. Requiring stitches would make it deep. All right, so we're going to stop here.